Hello, hello, Youest listeners, Youest You listeners. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited for you to be part of this conversation. You're going to get to meet an amazing powerhouse woman, someone who I am honored to call a dear friend and who's been extremely inspiring to me. You're going to get to see why in just a bit. She is definitely a role model and somebody who has really demonstrated incredible courage and will be cheering you on to really share your voice at a larger level. So I'm so excited to introduce you today to Selena Soo. Selena is a publicity and marketing strategist for visionary entrepreneurs, for experts and authors who want to reach millions with their message. She's helped clients and students get featured in places like the Oprah Magazine, Forbes, and Inc., and land interviews on popular podcasts and national TV. Many of Selena's clients have become industry leaders with 6- and 7-figure businesses, raving fan bases, and hundreds of thousands of followers. Her signature approach comes down to building powerful and long-lasting relationships with influencers and the media in a very thoughtful and authentic way. A former New Yorker, Selena now lives in the gorgeous beach area in beautiful Puerto Rico. Oh my gosh, Selena, every time I see you near the beach or in your photos, I'm like, sister, I want to join you. That looks amazing. So thrilled to have you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Julie. And I'm so looking forward to the day that we're in Puerto Rico together, toes dipped in the sand and drinking pina coladas. I know it's coming soon.
Okay, yes, please. Yes, and when. Yes, I'm there. Yes. Well, maybe we can just start out a little bit about your story, your journey,
Yes.
moving from New York, moving to Puerto Rico, getting into this whole world of publicity, why this has been something that's been your calling and your purpose. Those are kind of two questions. So whichever you feel called to share about first.
Yeah, I mean, we can start with how I got into this world of publicity. So, in my mid 20s, I went through a quarter life crisis where I was clinically depressed and had trouble getting out of bed in the mornings, had really low self esteem, had trouble eating, and things got so bad that my mom flew to New York just to be by my side to help me, kind of get through the day. She would walk me to work like I was a child, being walked to school.
Right.
And I remember saying to a friend, I don't want to feel this way every day. Do you know someone who can help me? Because I really need help. And I got introduced to this female life coach who organized these regular Wednesday women's gatherings. And through that, I got introduced to these incredible new ideas, experts and authors and thought leaders. And, these ideas helped me so much in my own struggles. And I realized that when people are suffering, they're not just looking for more information. People are really looking for inspiration. And I think that there's nothing more powerful than a role model that embodies hope and possibility for someone else. And so, I would ask my friends, hey, have you heard of these people? They're so amazing. And a lot of people had no idea who they were. And it's just a reminder there's always this next level of visibility. And there are people that are so good at what they do, but they're that best kept secret. And I really wanted more people to know about these people because their lives could be transformed. And so, I started joining different newsletters and following people that I admired. I lived in New York City. I would, go to local meetups and events and, create these relationships. And also, I would just like connect people with people over email, introducing myself, making connections between entrepreneurs and the media and so forth. So before I even had a business, I was kind of recognized as the super connector that was helping people land publicity opportunities. So that's kind of how I got my business started and got some great endorsements and support from day one.
I want to, first of all, I love how you have built this so organically. And I love this idea of, these amazing people that you were meeting, that they're, these best kept secrets, like they shouldn't be kept secret. And that the way to do that is through publicity, is through sharing your message, and how you built this really from that place of your strength of connecting, authentic connection. I am curious, and I want to come back to that, but you did mention just a period of time where you felt a little bit struggled within yourself. And maybe, I know you recently shared a really vulnerable story, and we're going to have the link here. shared it already, but I'm going to share it again here because it's really, really worthwhile, especially anyone that has struggled with any kind of abusive relationship. I thought you talking about role models, you're such an inspiration in how you shared this story. Maybe if you're comfortable to share a little bit about while you were building your business, kind of what happened to you personally that's been, something you've really learned from.
Yeah, so this was actually something a little more recent. So I started my business in 2012. I got into the emotionally abusive relationship in 2017. And it's something that I didn't really see coming. I was celebrating 5 years in business. I built a seven-figure business at that point, which was like an incredible milestone. And there was someone that and I later actually learned, I've never shared this publicly before, but a friend of a mutual friend had shared that one day they were on some kind of ship together, and my ex had declared, like, one day I'm going to date Selena Soo. It was kind of like his mission. And then I think maybe a year later, we were dating, but he met me at a workshop that someone had hosted. I was the guest speaker, and he had just kind of latched on to me. He seemed really drawn to me and a huge fan of my work and wanted to connect me to all these people that could, promote like the work that I was doing. And as I was planning my 5-year business anniversary party, I thought, I'll invite him because, he seems like such a great fan. And, he came to the party, and he gave me a gift, a $250 gift card to one of the best restaurants in New York. And I'm a foodie, so that's kind of the way to my heart, the way to get my attention. And so, I said to him, like, I'd love to get to know you better. And so we started spending time together, and then eventually, developing like a romantic relationship. And I learned about the term love bombing only recently, but it's like when someone is like really dramatic in their romantic like gestures and acts and words, to make you fall for them as a way to be able to manipulate you. And so what I initially thought was like the most amazing romance ever turned into a situation where I was constantly being controlled and put down. And it was confusing because it was a combination of like building me up and then tearing me down.
Mm.
And also, what a lot of these people do is they will isolate you from your friends and other people and make you think you can't trust them or whatever it is, turn you against them so that they can exert more control. So, over a year and a half, I was in this really unhealthy situation. And in my story, I really go deep because when I shared it with some people, they loved it, but they're like, they wanted to understand what I was thinking, because there were things that I was really embarrassed and not comfortable writing about, like how I was in this abusive situation and kind of detailed what I went through. And then I left, and then I went right back. Not only did I go back, I moved from New York to Florida with this person. And then within the first week, it got emotionally abusive again. And then how I like finally left for good. But leading up to it, like, when my friends were like, you need to dig deeper and share more, it was hard because it was like, what, I'm not really proud of my choices. I mean, I can understand them, but I don't know if this really makes me look that great. Not that I'm trying to be impressive, but it was like, it was hard to admit like some of the choices I made and the thought process. And I remember, and it also just felt very vulnerable. So as I was doing the revisions, and I literally edited my piece somewhere between 100 to 200 times, just like going back in and making a change, making a word stronger, rephrasing something.
Yeah.
But I would wake up in the mornings and there was so much pain in my throat, and I wasn't
Mm.
talking more than usual, but I was like, wow, this is painful. And I had to like, like eat lozenges, like, and suck on them nonstop and all of this. And that was like for a week and a half. And I would also wake up in the morning and my hands would like shake and my arms would, there would just be this nervous energy. And I hadn't felt anything like that in a really long time. But I also, I'm glad that I went through that. It was part of like almost the purging process of those negative emotions. And I started writing the piece towards the end of December, and I released it in February. So it was about 5 weeks from start to finish. I think what was good about that is I had, because the thing is when you write a personal piece like this, and many people have their own stories, which, are very sensitive for them, but you kind of relive the experience in writing about it, and sometimes uncover things that you didn't even really think about, because when we make our choices, we're not having a in-depth conversation. It's like a passing thought, but having to go back and be like, wait, what was I thinking in that moment?
Mhm.
So yeah, but it was powerful because by the time I released the article, I had already worked through a lot of the emotions. And I mean, there's still aspects of it that are, tender, but I was really in a much stronger place where I was ready to share my story and wanting people to read from it and learn from it, because it is a cautionary tale. And
Yeah.
also, if you're not in one of these situations, to be able to understand what someone, a loved one may be going through psychologically.
Well, I just want to, reading it myself, my breath was taken away. I mean, to think that you went through that, and especially, on the outside, you would never think that. And then what you're sharing about, your throat hurting and feeling off. And we talk a lot about this here, the the connection, mind, body, soul of your body is picking up on our emotions, and just really getting, there was a lot to this. It wasn't just what happened to you, but also then of course the ramifications physically, and having to relive it a little bit as you were writing it. And I'm thinking about, your calling, your mission to help other entrepreneurs and big-hearted change makers to get their message out, to use publicity to share stories, to uplift. And I'm like, wow, look at what a gift you were able to share this, and why publicity is so important. Because I know in your sharing this, frankly, I actually, without naming her, I have a friend that connected with me and was like, she was bawling. I mean, she had a situation similar, and, it brought up a situation for me years ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, you just don't know who you're going to touch. So I love how you were able to use the gift you have around publicity to share this story, and the reminder now that, these experiences affect our health and our well-being, and it's important to share that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you're sharing that, a couple of things come up for me. So the thing is, like, people follow me because they want to learn, tips on how to get publicity and how to grow their business. So in a way, like, this topic of emotional abuse can feel like it comes out of left field, or it's a separate thing, but to me, it's actually all part of the same thing.
Yeah.
Because, we're here to help people live better lives. Me and you, we have like a shared mission, to help people step
Yep.
into their fullest potential to make their biggest impact. And if you are in a situation with someone who is really, harming your sense of, self-worth and self-esteem, so that you're not like your most express self, like, then you're not making the true impact that you really could be making. And, when we think about growing our business, it's not just about like, employing all these strategies. It's also about the person inside the business and how they're doing. And I feel grateful that, publicity is something that I'm just naturally really good at, because when I had this story, I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't want to just write this story and have, one person read it or 5 people read it. I want thousands of people to read it and share it and be deeply impacted by it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just been a very powerful experience. And especially the thing that has helped me the most is like, and moved me the most, is people, responding and saying like, hey, um, this helped me a lot, or like, I had the same story, just different details, is what I hear a lot.
Mm.
One woman even said that the story saved her life, and she
Mm.
left abusive situation right after reading my piece. And even though I don't think people expect me to respond to them, um, because in general, I can't respond to every single communication, just so I wouldn't be able to get other things done in the business. But for this, it was something that was really important to me. And so I like, carved out time on the weekend and days after, just to like, respond to the emails in my support inbox. Because if someone's going through a situation like this, even just a couple of sentences for someone to feel seen and heard when they're opening up and sharing their experience can
Mm.
really go a long way, and can really inspire them to know that someone cares about them, and give them the courage to take the next steps, right, to get out of that
Mm.
situation.
I'm so touched by what you said. And to me, this is where you bridge that higher calling with publicity, and, the higher level to this, like, you're sharing it. So it's not just 1 or 5 or 10, it's thousands, millions that you're impacting. One of the things I want to ask you, because you are very open about this, and I love this about you. I remember when we connected, learning, that you're an introvert. And you've talked about it. And I think, how you have moved through life and becoming this, publicity and media maven, really this beautiful powerhouse with how to get publicity as an introvert. I mean, to me, that's like, that takes something. And just, I always think if Selena can do this, anyone can do this.
Yeah, no, and a lot of people say that they're drawn to learning from me because an introvert. I'm someone that has shied away from the spotlight. I'm not someone that, is that person that runs for the microphone at a conference or, is like, oh, I was born for the camera. No, I wouldn't say that. I had to work really hard to now appear, polished and comfortable and all of that. But I also think that the fact that I am an introvert is another reason why it's even more important for me and others to get out there. Because when I started my business, I would think about people, oftentimes men with very bold and brash personalities that were like leaders in the entrepreneurial world. And I couldn't really see myself in them. And I was curious, are there women that are heart centered and introverted and highly sensitive that are really successful in business and making an impact? Because I didn't know if I had the right personality to have a successful business. I also didn't consider myself to be a finance or numbers person. And when I see other people who maybe look like me from the standpoint of maybe they're, more sensitive or introverted, it's so inspirational, right? And it's hard to be what we cannot see. And the world just needs so many different types of role models that embody different messages and that are doing amazing things, right? To help, move people forward in their business and life.
So powerful. Yeah. One of my questions was around why do you think publicity is so important, and just hearing
Okay.
in your answer. But if you want to add to that, because I think sometimes, I know myself included, there's many things to do, especially if you're listening, you're an entrepreneur, you're a budding entrepreneur, you want to be somebody who has a message. Even I know many who listen to the show who are not yet entrepreneurs, but even I have some amazing, stay-at-home moms or women or people that want to make an impact and want to start getting their message out there. So for those of you listening, even if you're not yet in the entrepreneurial space, but for sure many that are, why do you think publicity is so important for them?
Absolutely. I think publicity is so important because it's one thing for you to tell the world, hey, I'm amazing at what I do. But if you're the only one saying that message and carrying that message is only going to go so far, you need other people saying that. And in particular, if you have media outlets that have a built in audience of thousands, tens of thousands, millions of people, then you're going to be able to reach and impact more people. The other thing is I really, believe that in today's media landscape, influencers are the new media. And when I say
Mm.
influencers, I mean people who are experts, who have built platforms. Maybe they have a podcast platform, a newsletter, a blog, social media platforms. Maybe they do Instagram live interviews. But there's an opportunity there for them to amplify your message to their audience. So, it is really powerful because a lot of times, like if I hear that like a magazine has named something like the best of the best, like I'm very interested. Or if there is a top podcaster that I adore and they're saying, oh, this person helped me, or you gotta check what they're doing, like I will become very, very curious. And it means a lot, right? It's something that money can't buy, that stamp of approval. And so, we all need other people talking about us to get our message across to, the masses.
Yeah, I love what you just said. And if it's okay to share a personal anecdote, because yeah, I mean, one of the gifts in getting to just, love and adore you and getting to know you, in working together. I know, I had this with the pandemic. I really saw in my own business, it was really fascinating. A huge shift for me was actually the opposite of what I would have thought or been taught, which is, going out, getting into action. It was actually more of an intuitive process of getting quiet and really tuning in more to what people need, and shifting and iterating and using intuition and those skills. And I remember in getting to connect with you and work with you, I was a little nervous. This is like kind of a different way of looking at shifting and pivoting. And with your support and your brilliance with publicity, that was such an amazing experience to have that article to be put out into Forbes. And I'll share with you that I've had people connect with me over that. I was a little nervous to do it. I think for me, it's a little of the over years coming out of the intuitive spiritual closet and just marrying that with business. But for me, it was like, well, if that can help somebody. And I've had a few people reach out, like, thank you so much. That helped me to pivot. And to me, that's like what I think we're talking about is it allows you to get your message or your helpful hope, ideas, inspiration to more people. And you've done it so powerfully, so authentically, Selena. That's one of the things I love about you is it's so heart-centered, the way you work.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. You can cut this. Okay, something just went down my throat, I think. Thank you for saying that. And, I also want everyone listening just to understand that they don't need to be, a best-selling author or internet superstar or 6 or 7 figure entrepreneur to get publicity. I started getting publicity well before started even, actually, I got publicity before I really even had clients. And so something to remember is that we all have a personal story. There's a reason
Yeah.
why we're led to the work that we're doing. Maybe we've helped friends or family members pro bono. Maybe, our upbringing led us to do what we do. But if we are in the business of, giving people advice or helping people in any way, something that the average person doesn't. And the combination of your expertise and your story already in your philosophy, around the work that you do gives you plenty to talk about in the media.
Oh, I love. Amen. I'm with you. I love that. It is. I so agree. I actually believe everybody has a story. And if you feel called to share your story, especially for those listening who've written in, I've gotten a lot of notes like, I don't know where to begin. I have this to share. I have this coming through me. I want to be able to help more. I really believe, and it's what I think you're saying, Selena. If you have that desire, then there is an equal need for you to share it so you can help others. And I come back to your vulnerable story. I don't know if you ever thought you would have shared that, but look at you saved, it saved someone's life. To me, I always said if the book I'm writing or the article can help one person, like obviously we want way more than that, but
Right.
way more, but that helped me get over my fear. What are I'm just curious, would be kind of fun to talk about some of the biggest mistakes that you've seen and maybe some of the best hacks or tips that you've kind of collected over the years around publicity. So those that are tuning in who are like, I don't even know where to start, like what are some things that maybe takeaways around mistakes and ways to really to do this in a powerful way?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to publicity, I understand that everyone is busy and working really hard. And so if they get publicity, it should make an impact in their business. So the first place that people really need to get started in is figuring out, what's their driving reason for wanting to get publicity. Maybe they have a premier coaching program and they're looking to, fill it up with a maximum of 15 one-on-one clients. Or maybe there's someone that has a group program and they would love to have hundreds of people in this program. Or maybe there's someone that doesn't have a way for people to work with them one-on-one or in a group setting, but they want people to read their books and share their ideas, right? So each of these audience is going to pay a different amount, whether it is, $19 or $20 for a book or, many thousands of dollars for coaching. And in some cases, you only need like 10 or 15 people. And so thinking about, okay, well, what is my goal? What is the main offer that I have in my business, right? So for me, my main offer is impacting millions, and that's my publicity program. And so understanding that that's my main offer, my publicity needs to be geared around it. And so as an example what not to do. I have a mastermind, and within the mastermind, like I've helped people with all sorts of challenges, like how to find their next team member and, brainstorming around their evergreen webinar funnel and all these different things. And even if I might have fun conversations around it, I'm not going to do podcast interviews on those topics because I don't want people reaching out to me for help on hiring team members. So it's really not my like main expertise, but I do want people, wanting to dive deeper into more publicity support. So if that's like my offer and that's how, I serve people, then I want to be talking about that thing. So everyone should be thinking about what's the main offer in my business, what topic is it, And also, like, how do people work with you? Is it one-on-one or is it in a group? So, if you primarily work with people one-on-one in your interviews, you can say things in a very natural and organic way. Like if someone's asking for advice, how do you handle this? Well, I had a private client, and when they were in this situation, this is what I advised them to do. Or, in my program, in my case, my program Impacting Millions, we help people with XYZ. We teach them this and that, so that when people are listening to the interview, they understand what's your core expertise, the way that they can get further helped, and also the format, so that when people do reach out to you, or when they do, join your email list or whatever it is, like they're already kind of ready and pre-seated slash pre-sold. So I would say, like, a big mistake people make is they're not being thoughtful and strategic about their publicity. They just want to get it for the sake of getting it, but they're not making sure that it ties into getting the right people that would be interested in, future offers and opportunities to work with them.
Excellent. Excellent. I love, it really has, I think if you're listening to this, it has each of us really coming back to what is your intention,
Yeah.
what makes sense, what is your offering, what is your purpose to help people. If you're talking about something that's not that, you're not going to be able to reach the people that you're meant to serve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And just a few others. So, one, like, it's like what to do right, versus a mistake, is you want to be clear on, what what kinds of opportunities make sense for you. But another big mistake I see is people pitching topics versus story ideas. They might pitch a topic like,
Mm.
hey, I'm an expert on work-life balance and I would love to come on your show. Um, but what you really need to do is hand over a story idea on a silver platter, because everyone's so busy. So what I recommend people do is they write their story ideas in the format of a headline. And so if someone were to read that headline, they're like, oh, I could see myself clicking on that. I could see myself getting curious. And then they're more intrigued with what you have to say. And the other thing is, it's a great idea to describe your idea, whether with a few bullet points or a few sentences, because maybe if you're like, maybe the headline is like 3 counterintuitive ways to achieve work-life balance, this year. But the person's going to wonder, like, are these counterintuitive, or are these things I've heard a million times before? What's the quality of these ideas? So if you could even like outline, like, 2 of the ideas include X and Y, or whatever it is, and it gives people a little bit of a taste of what they can expect from you.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, those are so great. So don't worry, I'm taking notes for you. Everyone who's listening, we'll have these all in the show notes. I'm like taking as best I can. And, just love how you have really, you've honed in these expertise and now able to help impact millions through your program, through what you're doing in I just keep coming back to it, such an organic, natural, heart-centered way, which to me is, it's the way to get the message out. Question for you. I have a couple questions before we wrap. So I just will share with everyone. I never want to end a conversation with Selena. Anytime I connect with you, I'm like, I can keep talking to you. I just always love being in your energy. I want to ask because, for you to grow a business in a short time to the 7-figure mark, there's something I love getting behind the scenes of what is that mindset, that heart set, like what are some of the things that have helped you to believe in yourself, believe in what you're doing, and really to be able to grow like that. I think that those listening would benefit from hearing what has helped you, even as you went through such challenges with that relationship. Like, what has helped you to really expand like that? It's quite incredible.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the main things is my focus on less is more. I don't know if you've read the book Essentialism, Julie. It's my favorite
It's on my nightstand. I have not yet, and it's the 4th time it's mentioned. So I'm
book.
like, oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and for everyone listening, I mean, that book really, basically expresses my life philosophy.
yeah.
This idea of doing like the essential things are the most effective. And I think a lot of people spread themselves too thin, and they get excited about shiny objects. And I get it, because a lot of these shiny objects, they come with promises of like quick fixes, or this is the newest and hottest thing and jump on the train now. But for me, I just like really simplify a lot of things in my business. And we actually recently decided to eliminate our mastermind group.
Mm.
Not because it wasn't amazing, but because, well, was craving more simplicity in my life, but also I wanted to pour all of my attention into into fewer things.
Yep.
And so, every year I have Impacting Millions, and we make it better and better. We go back to the curriculum, we see how we can refine it. We do all these different things. We're always reading feedback surveys and thinking about how we can make things better. And so I think for some people it can be boring to just have like one main thing and just focus on making it better. But that really is kind of my personality. I'm all about, excellence and impact and making something the absolute best it can be. And I think there's a lot of, a variety of amazing programs out there to grow your business and your impact. But I think because I just focus on making it, excellent in all the ways, and also,
Yeah.
strengthening the marketing, then it makes it easier for people to want to get involved and promote or share it because they know that they can trust it's a great product.
Yeah.
And we make it easy for people to get involved. So I would say a combination of like what's really helped me is like the laser focus, and also
Mm.
relationships. Because I've had a lot of great people, Julie included, who are just helping me get the word out about the work I'm doing. And, these things, and, we're talking about publicity, but a piece of publicity, something that really helps is when you take time to build relationships. Because then, people, when they know you, they're more likely to want to, they feel like they can get behind you and that, want to
Yeah.
support you.
So well said. I'm actually being reminded I had interviewed Jay Papasan a while back on the one thing, which is very similar, which is really just that focus on that one thing that you can be excellent at. And, and you're known for this with Impacting Millions. You've been impacting millions. Like it's really helped so many people to really get their story out and to have publicity in a way that's made a difference. And so I love that reminder. I personally am like, note to self, read Essentialism ASAP. I could use some of that laser focus. No, that's really powerful. My last, the question that's coming to mind that I'm always curious about, and I like to ask my guests, is this notion of, who your Youest You is and the legacy that you can see in the future that you'd like to leave. Like a little bit about what does that mean, your Youest You, and what would be like that legacy you hope to leave here?
My Youest You. I guess a couple of things come to mind. Like when people describe me, one of the words that they used is poised a lot. And actually, Julie, we were just talking earlier about the incredible stylist that we work with, and she, will come up with two words that encapsulate, our essence. And so for me, it was elegant, royal. So there's, elegance and poise. I think that's something that, it's just how I show up in the world. But another thing that's really important to me is like kindness and respect. Like I really care about treating other people really well. Like it upsets me when I see people being disrespected. And then I think part of the legacy is really, it's about living my best life. I, did an exercise before to think about like, okay, if there was, a sentence engraved on my tombstone, like what would I want that headline to be?
Yeah, yeah.
And at one point I had written something along the lines of, helping others or helping millions or inspiring millions. But then I realized, what, like I want to be at the center of my own story. And this idea that when we
Mm.
live our most expressed and happy and joyful life, we put ourselves in the center. In turn, we are inspiring and making an impact on others. And I think many of the people that I admire the most, it's because of their essence and how they show up in the world and what they embody. And so really wanting to step into that fully for myself.
That is so beautiful. I'm like, all right, mic drop. There's really not, I got nothing else to say to that. I'm just, if you're listening, especially to my beautiful women or anyone that identifies like that in that arena, please like listen to Selena. It's so inspiring. It's inspiring how you're stepping forward. And I just keep coming back to what the challenges that you've gone through, being an introvert, the relationship, all of those different, breakdowns, and to see how you have really taken all of those and mined them. It's like, the pearl comes from the grit, the diamond comes from pressure. And you really, I know you're all about helping hidden gems emerge. And you yourself, I don't think you're hidden, but you are certainly a gem that, I just am inspired by. And this is always the last little, like I always say, I call them heart flares. They're like, my heart just wants to say this. If there's something I didn't ask you, or just you feel like you have a heart flare you want to share, this is a moment for you to share anything that might be coming to you that I didn't get to ask you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, being an entrepreneur, a thought leader, an expert, it's been such a gift. I think it's an opportunity to really step into our greatest potential. And that's really what I think when I think about publicity. It's not just about, more people know about me or I'm famous. It's about making that deeper impact. And I know for me, I'm personally really driven by the idea of reaching my full potential in life. And part of reaching our full potential is overcoming fears of visibility and putting ourselves out there, right? Because I don't want to say that these fears go away 100%, but when we take action in the face of those fears, then we're living up to our potential because we're being fully expressed and we're helping more people, than ever before. So I would just encourage people, even if they feel scared, to really like feel that fear, the idea, like the famous quote, like feel the fear, and do it anyways.
Yeah. Awesome. I knew there was something. I'm like, yeah, I could feel it. It's there. That is so, so powerful. Well, I mean, aren't you glad you listened? Everyone who's tuning in, this was just a delicious, so inspiring conversation. And, I think you're really what you're up to, and standing in the center and claiming that, I'm gonna tune in and be my fullest potential. I don't think there's any greater purpose that we can have. It's like, the acorn and the oak tree, and I'm hearing it's like, let's see the full oak tree. Let's do it. And I love how you're helping others to do that, and just so honor you in your journey here and who you are, who you're shining as, and just appreciate you so much, Selena.
Oh, thank you. Oh, and I also want to share our free gift with everyone.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Free gift moment. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. So once a year, I release my Impacting Millions publicity video series. So there's just 3 short videos that show people the steps to take to get major publicity. And with each video, there is a free gift that accompanies it. So with video 1, they get a list of 200 media outlets to get their wheels turning on where they might like to be featured. Video 2 is accompanied by my 12-month media calendar full of 40 plus pages of story ideas and ways to pitch the media. And then the third gift is a 7-step action plan. So I know that Julie will be sharing the link in a moment with people, but they can go ahead and download that. And the other thing is when they download or they sign up to get the videos, they will also have a chance to win an all expenses paid trip to Puerto Rico. And Julie and I were talking about that at the beginning. And if someone from Julie's community wins, and I would say that Julie has to come down to the party as well. So definitely check it out.
Yes, I will be there. I will be there. And I'm going to just share the link so everyone knows. And we'll have this in the show notes as well. I love, first of all, your stuff is incredible. You can tell that your one thing of excellence is embedded in everything you do. So recommend all of this, and we'll have the link, but it's juliereisler.com/publicity. Really simple. And Selena, thank you. Those are awesome gifts. And yes, if anybody who listens, keep me posted. If you're going to Puerto Rico, I'm going to do my best to get my butt down there with you, because I'm ready.
Love it.
Bring it on. Well, thank you so much. What a gift. And thank you for your just beautiful, the work you're doing in the world. I so honor you.
Thank you.